Flexing that ankle.
Golly, this late in the game, you do not want to see.
Clark's latest injury has fans not only concerned but also outraged. This isn't just a minor knock, it's her second injury of the season. And if it's severe, she could be out for an extended period. What frustrates fans the most is that the whole situation could have been avoided.
Stephanie White has now got questions to answer.
This isn't just about one incident. It's the result of ongoing issues throughout the season, shaped by choices made by the Fever, referees, and opposing players. There's now real concern not just for Caitlin Clark's immediate health, but for her long-term career. And that has serious implications for the future of the WNBA. We've already seen the difference when she's not playing. Ticket sales drop and fan interest fades. The frustration stems from the fact that Clark isn't getting the protection she deserves, either physically on the court or strategically from those who should understand her value to the league. Fans are especially angry with Stephanie White, pointing to major missteps that may ultimately go down as one of the biggest missed opportunities in sports history. Let's break down what went wrong, why fans are upset, and why this could have lasting consequences. But first, like this video and drop a heart in the comments to wish Caitlin a full and speedy recovery. After her last absence, excitement around the league plummeted. And it looks like the WNBA is headed for another major reality check.
Boston hands it off as Clark's back in. She goes down. And mid-court and flexing that ankle.
Golly, this late in the game, you do not want to.
Caitlin Clark appeared to suffer a groin injury during the game against the Storm and is now officially sidelined for an indefinite period. In the meantime, Stephanie White has been checking in with her daily by phone.
Caitlin, when did you guys find out about this groin injury and how much of an absence do you expect from her beyond today?
Yeah, late last night. I think it's very much a day-to-day thing, how she responds to treatment.
But Fever fans have heard that before.
How is she doing? Is there any timeline for her return?
Yeah, she's doing well. She's doing well. Again, no timeline. I think it's day to day, and for us to just make sure that we're continuing to be supportive of the.
Fans are increasingly skeptical of Stephanie White's statements during press conferences, making the situation feel unpredictable. Meanwhile, Dana requested to sit out, as she wasn't officially listed on the team's daily schedule. Please don't forget to like the video and subscribe my channel for more awesome content. Thanks.
Like, it's one of two things. It's either it's groin tightness and she'll be back for the Commissioner's Cup game. She's probably going to miss these next two games. Or it's a groin strain. She's out for the All-Star game. Like, it's one of those two, and there's no...
There's growing evidence suggesting that Caitlin may need to miss a considerable amount of time, even if the injury seems minor. It's not what fans want, but the pattern of injuries is becoming harder to overlook. There's clearly a link between these recurring issues, and none of them appear to be fully addressed or resolved.
But I think we're getting into territory now where it is not, I don't think it's a good idea to just chance it. I don't think it's a good idea to put pressure on yourself to perform when obviously these are all left leg. These are all in the same leg area. So there's definitely something going on around that.
Many believe this isn't simply a one-off injury that happened during a single play. Instead, there's speculation that Caitlin has been pushing through an existing injury for days or even weeks, and the game against the Storm may have just made it worse. To be fair, there are some compelling reasons fans are buying into this theory. For one, the numbers speak volumes. Caitlin hasn't just seemed off since that rough game against Connecticut, where she took a physical beating. She's gone just 1-for-23 from three-point range in recent games, which points less to a typical slump and more to a potential red flag.
So if you guys did not see, in this game right here, against the New York Liberty, she's doesn't have anything strapped up, and people are saying her quad was strapped up against Connecticut Sun. That is a very high strapping up for a quad.
This is exactly why fans, and even Stephanie White, are directing their frustration at the Fever. If Caitlin had been playing injured all along, it suggests she was brought back too soon, potentially making things worse.
You guys rushed her back, and within rushing her back, she re-injured that same quad, and then you rushed her back again. And then within rushing her back, she was forced to put pressure and put stress on different areas surrounding that quad. That leads us to our most recent groin injury.
It's a well-known fact that when one part of your body isn't functioning properly, you naturally start overcompensating with other muscles and joints, which often leads to additional injuries. That's why, when fans saw Caitlin wearing a heavy wrap on her leg after returning to play, many felt it was obvious she shouldn't have been back on the court in the first place. Now, let's rewind to the Storm game, the moment that has fans absolutely outraged, especially with Stephanie White.
This one's on the coach. This one seems to be on the coach.
When you realize Caitlin was sent back into the game with just 8 seconds left, it really raises questions about Stephanie White's decision-making. There comes a point where it's no longer about toughness, it's about smart risk management. Many fans now feel that the Fever and their coach failed that responsibility. Sure, maybe Caitlin wanted to go back in, maybe she was trying to shake off a slump, but with just 16 seconds left and the outcome already decided, it was the coach's job to protect her. Especially a player as vital as Caitlin.
Caitlin Clark clearly not looking like herself. The Indiana Fever has the game put away, yet we still put her back in the game at 45 seconds left. Caitlin Clark dealing with an injury, not looking like herself. The game is already out of hand, yet we still put her back in with 45 seconds left. How much patience do I need to have before I can start going nuclear? Because I am getting very frustrated with what I am seeing.
This is where fan concern is really intensifying. It's becoming increasingly clear that Caitlin Clark isn't being managed the way she should be. Her fierce competitive spirit drives her to stay on the court and support her team, fully aware that the eyes of the entire WNBA, not just Indiana, are on her. She's carrying an enormous burden, even if she doesn't say it out loud. And that's the issue. When you have a player who pushes through pain, refuses to rest, and feels responsible not just for her team but for the league itself, the risk becomes much greater. If she continues playing through injury, it might not just cost her a game or two, it could jeopardize much more.
I just wonder if she's playing through a little more pain than she should. I mean, look what happened to Tyrese Halliburton in the NBA Finals game when he tore his Achilles heel. He had also mentioned having some pain there, and this was like the pinnacle of his career. So he attempted to play through that, and at the very end, he went down.
That's what makes the situation even more alarming. Just a year ago, the idea of Caitlin Clark missing significant time seemed unimaginable. Her legendary run at Iowa was defined by her consistency and toughness, playing through every game. But now, she's already missed nearly half the season, all seemingly tied to an ongoing issue with the same leg. It's clearly impacting her performance and, if not properly addressed, could continue to be a problem for the rest of the season, or even beyond.
There's something going on. Is it the nagging quad injury? But it's something to do with the lower half of her body. It is a groin injury. Now we've got an idea of why she's struggling from long range, where it requires, some real push on three-point shots, especially the kind that she takes. And there's nothing worse than a groin injury. It will nag the shit out of you. Trust me, I've had...
We've seen it time and time again. Courtney Vandersloot, Arike Augunbal, Cameron Brink, and others. The list of elite female athletes sidelined by severe knee injuries is both long and heartbreaking. An ACL tear isn't just a temporary setback. It can end a season and derail a career. Now imagine the worst-case scenario. Caitlin Clark tearing her ACL during garbage time in that Storm game, while already playing on a compromised leg. It would be more than a personal tragedy. It would go down as the biggest strategic failure in WNBA history. Such a moment could set the league back a decade. All the momentum, new fan interest, and record-breaking ratings, gone in a flash. And that's not an exaggeration. The hard truth is no player has ever meant more to the league's future than Caitlin Clark does right now. If you think that sounds dramatic, just wait, because the impact on other players is becoming more visible too. To be clear, this isn't only on the Indiana Fever. Analysts and fans alike are now criticizing the WNBA itself, especially over the poor quality of officiating, which many believe has played a major role in how this situation spiraled out of control.
The thing that you have to be careful of is if, say, you try to rush her back from this injury as well, then you're getting into this territory where a very serious injury can happen. And with women as well, we are more prone to knee injuries even than the men because of the angle that our hips go to our knees. So the last thing you want is her compensating or her groin not firing properly and she goes to cut to the side and then all of a sudden something blows in her knee. That is what the Indiana Fever, that is what Caitlin need to avoid the best that they possibly can. So if it means that Caitlin is out for 3 weeks, if it means that she is out all the way through All-Star, then so be it. She has such a long career.
It's no secret that the Fever have consistently gotten the short end of the stick this season, and nowhere is that more obvious than in the treatment of Caitlin Clark. Fans have been voicing their concerns for weeks, but the game against the Sun marked a real turning point. It wasn't just the now infamous eye poke or the hard body check that sparked outrage. It was everything leading up to those moments. The pattern of physical play, lack of calls, and growing frustration finally boiled over.
Like, they just kept shoving Caitlin. They're like, well, they can't keep calling. They can't just keep calling fouls. I'm like, they're literally just running around hacking her. The referees have made it like a point that this is how you beat the fever. You hack them. You don't even, it's not being physical. You just hack them. Because the referees are going to allow them to be hacked.
While there's plenty of debate over missed calls involving Caitlin Clark and the fever, it's becoming clear that this kind of physical play is deeply rooted in the WNBA. And it's not just impacting Indiana, it's a league-wide issue.
This is JC Sheldon right here with an entire handful of Caitlin Clark's shoulder and bicep, and she's twisting it. Okay? I mean, this is wild. Here's the zoomed out look, the snapshot. I mean, this league does not have control of its players.
When coaches build their strategies around excessive physicality, knowing the league won't enforce its own rules, players end up paying the price. And it's not just Caitlin Clark. Jade Melbourne, for instance, literally lost a tooth from an unnecessary elbow while this very script was being written. That's not just aggressive play. It's a clear sign that referees aren't doing their jobs. This isn't an exaggeration. It's a real problem with real consequences. The league has been overlooking player safety for years, but now it's affecting the one player arguably holding the WNBA's momentum together. And here's something fans are seriously talking about. Caitlin Clark gained a noticeable amount of muscle during the off-season. Her physical transformation was a big storyline. Her added strength, her edge on the court. But why did she bulk up in the first place? Because she was getting beat up last year. The message was loud and clear. If you want to survive in this league, you'd better armor up. But here's the catch. Rapidly adding muscle, especially to the core and legs, can disrupt an athlete's mechanics. It can alter stride, affect shooting rhythm, and most importantly, increase injury risk if movement patterns haven't fully adjusted. So maybe, just maybe, if the league had done a better job of enforcing the rules, Caitlin wouldn't have had to turn herself into a linebacker just to stay on the court. And maybe, if physicality wasn't treated like a marketing angle, we wouldn't be standing on the edge of yet another Caitlin Clark injury crisis.
Coach told me we tell our players to be as physical as they can possibly be for 40 minutes because we know for 38 of them they're pretty much going to get away with it. So I think everybody would like to see a tighter whistle and a little bit more freedom of.
To be clear, no one is saying Caitlin Clark should be exempt from physical play. Toughness is part of basketball, part of all sports. But there's a big difference between hard-nosed defense and allowing blatant fouls or dirty plays to slide. Fans aren't asking for special treatment, they are simply asking for the rules to be enforced. It starts with referees calling fouls consistently. Then it's on the league to back that up, by holding players accountable, suspending repeat offenders, and setting a clear standard. But at the most basic level, it begins with something fundamental: respect. Respect for the player who's not only growing the game, but also helping fund it, whether others admit it or not. What's shocking is that none of this has been addressed properly. And that's dangerous, because if things continue the way they are, the consequences will be severe. Caitlin Clark is the rising tide lifting the entire league. And if you look at other professional leagues like the NBA or NHL, their stars are protected. The WNBA has to do the same, before it's too late.
Does make me wonder if a player like SGA can get all these fouls called, maybe the refs should call them similarly for Caitlin. Because if the players defending Clark know that they're going to get a whistle every time they hand check her or cover her physically, they will probably do it a lot less. And I get it, you're trying to neutralize this player, but you know, we've entered the realm of player safety here, and Caitlin Clark, who has now gone out for a third time, so I think that this needs to be reassessed.
When Caitlin Clark isn't playing, everything slows down. Viewership dips, ratings drop, and online engagement goes quiet. The energy around the WNBA noticeably fades. But the moment she's back, interest skyrockets again, and it's because of moments like these. At this point, it's not even up for debate. The impact is real, and the pattern is undeniable.
And it's also a huge blow to the WNBA. Whether some fans like it or not, it was proven the last time that she was out with injury that the WNBA does better when she is on the court. The WNBA ratings across the league dropped by over 50% when Caitlin Clark was out with injury, and this is obviously such a crucial time and a crucial year for the league because they go into CBA negotiations at the end of the year.
Crowds packed the arena and tuned in from across the country when Caitlin Clark returned to the court against the Liberty, turning the game into more than just a feel-good story. It drew an average of 2.2 million viewers and peaked at 2.88 million, making it one of the highest-rated games in WNBA history. But with numbers now dropping, there's real concern things could get even worse. Caitlin may miss the Commissioner's Cup final, a key event meant to boost league excitement and revenue. Even more concerning, she could miss the All-Star game, which would be a disaster for ratings. And for players, the stakes go beyond visibility. We're talking about millions of dollars in potential revenue from advertising, bonuses, merchandise, and overall league momentum. Even missing just one of these events could have serious financial consequences. This isn't just a Fever problem anymore. The entire league is now gambling with its most valuable asset, and fans know it.
Nerve, the second-year players clearing out that side of the floor, shooting on Stewie, and then watch the reaction with one another. Stewie's laughing. Caitlin knows it's ridiculous. Just out there having a good time.
If WNBA players believe they still have leverage after a second Caitlin Clark absence, they are fooling themselves. Owners understand exactly who drives the league's momentum: Caitlin Clark. She's the engine behind the ratings, merchandise sales, and media attention. When she's not playing, everything stalls. Her first injury already shifted the power dynamic, undercutting any real leverage players thought they had. The most baffling part? Many players still don't seem to realize it, but Caitlin's fans absolutely do.
I need to get in the field.
You need to come to the
I
meetings.
gotta get in the meetings because I'm hearing like, yeah, they don't give us, if y'all don't give us what we want, like, we sitting out.
That's a possibility, for real.
That's what makes this situation even more alarming, because just a year ago, the idea of Caitlin Clark missing significant time felt unthinkable. At Iowa, she was known for her durability, playing every game and building her legacy through consistent performance. But now, she's already missed nearly half the WNBA season, and it all seems tied to a lingering issue with the same leg. It's visibly impacting her play, and if it isn't properly addressed, it could continue to affect her for the rest of the season, or even longer.
This groin injury, and how much of an absence do you expect from her beyond today?
Yeah, late last night. I think it's very much a day-to-day thing, how she responds to treatment. I stay in my lane and let our
Who gives a shit how she responds to treatment? Keep her out for a week. Keep her out for a week or two. Let's make sure she's healthy. 110%, 150%.
Right now, the trust is gone. It might sound diplomatic to ask officials to cut down on the cheap shots or to suggest that Caitlin Clark deserves more protection, but even her harshest critics should pause and ask, do you really want a league without her? Because a league that allows its brightest star to be targeted without consequence, and a team that fails to protect her when she's clearly hurting, isn't just letting Caitlin down. It's putting the future of women's basketball at risk. Thanks for watching. If you're still here, drop a basketball and hoop in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel, WNBA Throne.